Coming up on College Football Now, we take a stab at our way too early top 25 rankings for the 2024 season as we embark on a new college football calendar, 12-team playoff next year. So we're going to dive into our way too early rankings here at Chat Sports. But first, we'd be remiss if we didn't congratulate the Michigan Wolverines. They took down the Washington Huskies last night, 34-13 to win the national championship, a perfect 15-0 season. Obviously, we'll wait and see what the future for Jim Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy is, but Michigan has won their first undisputed national championship since 1948. So congrats to the Wolverines as they complete a perfect season. Which brings us to the upcoming year. Who will win the national championship this next year? Drop a team name in the comments. We'll obviously go through my rankings here and a little bit of collaboration here at Chat Sports on our rankings, but let us know who you think wins it all next season. Okay, let's get into our way too early top 25. The Memphis Tigers, good year this year. I think they won 10 or 11 games. I think out of the group of 5 teams, they got the most upside next season, so got them in the top 25. I think they got a chance to be the G5 team in the college football playoff. The North Carolina State Wolfpack, as Dave Dorn has put together a few good seasons here, 9-4 this year. I think they should be right inside the top 25. The Iowa Hawkeyes, I hate their brand of football, but they make it work. Another 10-win season for the Hawkeyes. We know the defense is going to be good. Will the offense bounce back? Hopefully a healthy Cade McNamara helps in that regard, but that side of the football was disappointing. We'll see what that offense looks like since they're moving on from Brian Ferentz. Number 22, the Louisville Cardinals, who were a fringe top 10 team in the month of November and early December, but kind of faltered late in the year and lost the ACC championship, lost to Kentucky, lost their bowl game. So we'll see how Jeff Brom and this group rebounds after a tough end of the season, but still a 10-win team this year. They've got some good things going on at Louisville. At number 21, the Kansas Jayhawks, Jalen Daniels announcing that he's coming back for another season, missed most of this year with an injury. Jason Bean moves on, but Daniels is who their starting quarterback was entering the season anyway. Lance Leipold doing a great job revitalizing that football program as that team's head coach. So the Jayhawks back in the top 25 to start next year, veteran quarterback there in the Big 12. Number 20, the Washington Huskies. I didn't really know what to do with Washington. Look, it's weird to have a team play for the national championship, have a 14-1 season, and have them all the way down at 20, but Michael Penix is gone. They're likely losing all 3 of their top receivers, Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. They could lose some key pieces on defense as well. They're going to lose Fontenot on the offensive line. They got Will Rogers in, Mississippi State transfer at quarterback, so they should still be solid, but it's going to look different. Rodgers is more of a run-and-shoot quarterback. The downfield passing attack won't be the same. So got him at 20. We'll see what Kalen DeBoer does in year 3. At number 19, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who are one of the surprising teams in college football this year. Mike Gundy did a terrific job with limited talent. Alan Bowman back for a 7th year of college football as the NCAA approved his request for an extra season. He's back at quarterback. Ollie Gordon back at running back. So they should be one of the contenders in the Big 12. The Tennessee Volunteers at number 18, Nico taking over at quarterback. He played pretty well in the bowl game against a good defense and Iowa, so we'll see what the Vols do this year. At number 17, the Kansas State Wildcats, Avery Johnson taking over at quarterback as Will Howard is off to Ohio State. Johnson played pretty well in the Wildcats bowl win over North Carolina State. I think they'll be right in the mix in the Big 12 as well. Number 16, the Clemson Tigers, Cade Klubnik entering his 3rd season of college football, 2nd year as a starter. I thought they finished strong offensively this year, a 9-win season for Dabo Swinney. Can they get back into the mix of national relevance? They haven't been there in the last few years, but I thought Garrett Riley got that offense going in the second half of the season. They should have a chance to be in the mix to win the ACC. Are you guys excited for the 12-team playoff? We just saw the end of the 4-team system come and go after, 9 years of it, 10 years of it. Now we go into a 12-team playoff next year. I think it gives more programs opportunities to break through. So I'm excited to see it. Type Y for yes, you are, or type N for no, you are not. Top 15 we go. The Oklahoma Sooners as they embark into the SEC. Jackson Arnold's a very talented five-star quarterback. We saw him play in the bowl game against Arizona. Was hit and miss in that game, but we'll see how he performs. My biggest question for the Sooners is they lost a lot of offensive linemen into the transfer portal. Can they hold up in year one in the SEC with a young quarterback? That'll be key. Number 14, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They got Riley Leonard out of the transfer portal to replace Sam Hartman at quarterback. Marcus Freeman continues to do a good job on the recruiting trail. Should be another strong season in South Bend. Number 13, the LSU Tigers. Jaden Daniels gone, but Garrett Nussmeier's been waiting in the wings for a while. He had a strong bowl performance as well against Wisconsin. I think they'll be good offensively again. Weirdly enough, the last couple of years, the question for LSU has been defense. They were awful this year defensively. They had to be carried by Heisman winner Jaden Daniels. They got to get better on that side of the ball. They made changes to their defensive staff, so if they can at least be adequate defensively, this should be a fringe top 10 team. Pick yourselves up a hoodie for up to 30% off. Michigan fans, we've got some Michigan ones available. Chatsports.com/CFB hoodie. Tons of different styles for tons of different universities. So whatever your favorite team is, or if you just like having different sporting gear, go check them out. Chatsports.com/CFB hoodie. A lot of these hoodies up to 30% off. Take advantage of the deal. That link is in the comments and in the description. And again, Wolverine fans, if you want to gear up, go ahead and do so at chatsports.com/CFB hoodie. The team that beat the Oklahoma Sooners in the Alamo Bowl, the Arizona Wildcats. One of the best stories in college football this year. 10-win team. Noah Fafita, just a freshman this past year at quarterback, a little undersized, but man, can he sling it. He played really well this year. I think going into the Big 12, Arizona has a chance to potentially win that conference, which would be incredible for a football program that doesn't have a ton of history. Number 11, the Florida State Seminoles. DJ Uiagalelei takes over for Jordan Travis. They're obviously losing a ton of talent down there, but they're banking on DJU for steadying the ship, hopefully bringing in a veteran presence in there. We'll see how Mike Norvell can replace the likes of Keon Coleman, Jared Verse, obviously Jordan Travis. That's up to DJU, obviously, and several other key contributors that we saw skip the bowl game. So we'll see how Florida State responds after getting snubbed for the college football playoff this year. Diving into the top 10, the Utah Utes, like Arizona, coming into the Big 12 next season, and I think they're the team to beat in the Big 12. Cam Rising back for year 7, had to miss all of this year recovering from that major knee injury, but if he gets back to pre-injury form, he's one of the better college football quarterbacks heading into next season. They could be a playoff team. There's no doubt about it. The Missouri Tigers could also be a playoff team, and again, in this 12-team system, I mean, you're going to get teams that have never really sniffed the 4-team system that get in there. They got a veteran team. Eli Drinkwitz is kind of goofy, but he's done a nice job getting that program back to being relevant, and they had a nice bowl win over Ohio State as well. At number 8, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Can Drew Aller put it all together next season? He's got all the physical tools you want at quarterback, but in the big games this year, he really, really struggled. So they got talent everywhere, dudes on both sides of the ball. It comes down to quarterback for Penn State if they're going to break through and beat the likes of Ohio State and Michigan. And quite frankly, a team like Oregon coming into the Big Ten now as well. Tomorrow, we will have a 12-team college football playoff projection video. Tyler Jones going to project who's going to be in the first edition of the 12-team playoff system. So hit that subscribe button if you want more college football content. We're not going anywhere. Join us tomorrow for that video. Number 7, the Ole Miss Rebels, strong transfer portal period, although big loss on Monday night. Quinshon Judkins, their star running back, announced his transfer commitment to Ohio State, kind of trolling the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry pretty quickly, by the way. As soon as Michigan wins it all, he announces he's joining the Buckeyes. So that's a big loss, but Jackson Dart is back. They added a ton of talent out of the portal as well, so I expect Ole Miss to be in the mix in the SEC. Speaking of the Buckeyes, that was a big get to get Judkins. They also add Will Howard, the Kansas State transfer quarterback. I think with the additions of those two and Howard being a dual-threat quarterback, this might be more of a true like JT Barrett style offense using the QB run, zone read type of stuff. They couldn't really do that this year with Kyle McCord. They didn't utilize it much with CJ Stroud. They could get back to that QB power run game. So I could see Ohio State's offense under Ryan Day looking a little bit different next year. Top 5, the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, obviously defending national champs here, so you would think they'd be 1, 2, 3, but got them at 5. We don't know what's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh. A lot of NFL interest there. J.J. McCarthy may decide to go pro, although I think he should go back to school. So we got them at 5. They are losing some key players like Blake Corum and a lot of guys on that defense, but still a lot of talent in there. Will Johnson, probably the best cornerback in college football that'll return next season. Number 4, the Oregon Ducks. Listen, I think out of all the schools changing conferences, Oregon has the chance to be the most competitive right away. Dylan Gabriel, they bring him in there as a veteran quarterback. They also added Dante Moore, 5-star, who was a freshman at UCLA last year. I expect Gabriel to start, but they've got Moore waiting in the wings as well. Dan Lanning's done a nice job there, so I think Oregon steps into the Big Ten and contends right away. Number 3, the Texas Longhorns. Tough schedule. They play Michigan in Ann Arbor in the non-conference. They also draw Georgia in their first SEC schedule as well. That one is in Austin, but Quinn Ewers is expected to return. I'm sure we'll get an official announcement in the next few days before the deadline to declare for the draft. He could go, but I think he'll be back. They are going to lose the likes of Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell, Jatavion Sanders, Jonathan Brooks, but key players returning on defense and some young offensive talent that should be able to take the next step. The Alabama Crimson Tide at number 2. You got to really appreciate how much that team improved throughout the season. I thought this year was one of Nick Saban's best coaching jobs. Jalen Milroe back next year, and he really improved throughout the season, so he'll be an early Heisman candidate as well. If the Tide can, figure out how to replace guys like Jermaine Burton offensively, Jace McClellan, then they should be explosive on that side, and we know they're always going to play defense. Who will win the all-new SEC next year with Oklahoma and Texas joining the ship? Will it be Bama, Texas? Will a team like Oklahoma win it? Or will my number 1 team win it, the Georgia Bulldogs? Look, if we're being completely honest, Georgia was probably the best team this year. They just, quite frankly, weren't that battle-tested when they went into that Alabama game, and Bama snuck up on them and beat them. I think, if they played Bama 10 times, they probably beat them 8 times. That was one of the 2 they lost. And, Georgia-Michigan would have been interesting. I think that those were the best 2 teams this year, but Georgia lost at the wrong time. You got to think they're going to be motivated to come back. Carson Beck is back for another year at quarterback before going to the NFL draft. They've got some young defensive players that will be a year older as well. Remember, they had a ton to replace this year, and we're still very, very close to being into the college football playoff. I think they are the team to beat, the most talented roster heading into next season. All right, there you have it, our way too early top 25 rankings. I should mention, too, Trevor Etienne transferring to Georgia at running back. That's a big addition for them as well. Remember, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with our early 12-team playoff projection. I'm fascinated to see what teams are in the mix next year, especially teams that have never made the 4-team playoff system. My name is Harrison Graham. If you love college football, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.